Hi, it's Dr. Spears from drpremed.com and wanted to share some information, let you guys know what's going on. I know as a pre-med student, one of the biggest things that you guys are worried about or concerned about is preparing for the MCAT and doing well on that exam because that really dictates your future, determines what type of medical school you're going to get into, and even in some cases whether you're going to get into medical school or not. So I totally understand all of the nerves that you have, anxiety over the MCAT. And so right now, I'm recording this video and I'm actually waiting on some board exams to come back. And so these are our United States medical license exams that you need so you can qualified to practice medicine throughout the United States or whatever, and ultimately get your degree at a certain point and enter a residency program. So these are very, very important high stakes exam. And so I know exactly what you guys are going through. You know you put in all this work, and sometimes you think about, oh, there's a problem I definitely recall I didn't get right, or I was questioned about, or there's other project. Oh yeah, I totally nailed that, totally got that, not even worried about it. But then you still have that anxiety, no matter how much you work. You just want to see what score did you actually get, how well did you do, or how much work did you need to put in if you unfortunately have to retake an exam or anything like that. And so if you do come out on a losing side with like an MCAT score that's not competitive, don't go ahead and force yourself to apply with a low MCAT score. You need to take some time and just let the realization come in that you need to retake the MCAT, but then more importantly, you need to figure out your study strategy. You need to figure out what you did poorly on the exam and where you did well on, and you really need to work on those poor subject areas and improve them as much as possible so that you have a fighting chance of getting into medical school. Obviously, it's not the end of the world if you have to retake the MCAT, but ideally you want to be once and done with the MCAT. That's the overall goal that you want to have. So if you haven't taken the MCAT yet, make sure you really buckle down and do everything possible so that you can have a top score the first time that you take the MCAT, because who wants to sit for a couple hours and retake a standardized exam that's really high stakes and everything like that. But if you're taking it, you have your score. I always tell people you can't change the past. You only have now, the present, and also the future. So that's where you should put your time, efforts at, and your thoughts. And don't worry about would have, should have, could have, because you can't do anything about that. You just got to move forward with everything. And I know you probably think, oh, Dr. Spirit, it's easy for you to say. No, I'm sitting in the same boat as you guys. I am waiting on a board medical license exam as well. I have no clue what the score is going to be. I don't know. So I'm writing this because I don't think a lot of people, well, not write, but making this video because I don't think a lot of people put that out there for you, where usually people write about or make a video like, oh, I don't think I did so well on an exam or whatever, or they tell you they're just concerned about it, but nobody ever really comes back and tell you the final result. So we'll have another video that goes over the final result, what actually happened, but this is kind of in that waiting period where it's been a couple weeks now and you just don't know. And I'll actually tell you, I took one of my other licensing exams. It's one that you take where you actually have standardized patients under time conditions. You have to take a full history and physical on the patient. Then you have to write a note. It's all under time conditions because they want to make sure as a when you're a medical school or medical student, that you have the characteristics and traits and qualities that would allow you go into a residency program where you can start seeing patients and all of that. We don't have to worry about your ability to handle that on your own because you're not always going to have your program director or upper people around you. A lot of times in a hospital, it's going to be, oh, we just got admission to go take care of that admission and stuff like that, or you got to take somebody to the OR and you're going to have somebody above you, but they're going to, based on your level of experience, they're going to let you do how much they think you're comfortable with in a teaching hospital is how that goes. So that's another thing. And for that one, that with those standardized patients, I think the wait on that was a good 8 to 10 weeks or so. So talk about being under the pressure cooker, not knowing what's going on when you have to wait 8 to 10 weeks to get exam scores back, whatever you want to call it. And so obviously did well in that because I'm pretty good at interacting with people, doing a history physical. You do that throughout medical school and everything like that. A lot of doctors like Why do you guys even stress about that one? Because you guys do it every day when you're in the hospital, which is very true. That's what we do. And so, yeah, it's good to do that, but it's just one thing to get cross off the list that you don't have to worry about, and just be a strong medical student, doctor, whatever, wherever you're at in your training. You want to make sure that you're strong in everything that you do. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys in regards to that kind of waiting period when you don't know how well you did on the exam, you don't have score reports back, and just kind of stuff that's going on. Try not to think about it. Try to relax. If there's other parts of your application that you need to work on, definitely go ahead and do that in the interim, but don't try not to lose sleep over things when you're waiting for that period. And no matter what the score is, you just got to deal with it, accept it as your reality, and then have a plan to move forward regardless of what type of score you get, and just figure out what you can do to be your next steps. And if you guys have any questions, any more concerns, feel free to reach out to me. Always check out my website, drpremed.com. There's a lot of good stuff happening there. We're kind of revamping things, really want to take it to the next level. So that's really the place that you can go to get your answers, your questions answered, and really put yourself on a path to getting into medical school, because it's just so high stakes. And as one person said about the medical school admissions process, actually a physician who was working to get their daughter into medical school, they said, you know what? The hardest part of medical school is getting in. That's really the truth of the matter. It's really hard to get in, but once you're in, it's very hard not to make it through medical school unless you just decide it's not something that you want to do, or it's not what you feel is where you should be putting your time and effort. And that's fine. I actually had I know definitely one classmate from my year of medical school. They dropped out. They said this is not what they want to do. They didn't want to do it. And more power to them. They chose their truth. They chose to do what was really for them, and not what others told them they should be doing. And I'm pretty sure that's a very hard decision to have, to get into medical school, work so hard, and then after the first semester to decide, you know what, I don't want to do this. This is not where I want to spend the rest of my life, and to make that call. So that type of stuff happens, but we'll share more about that maybe for another time. But this is Dr. Spears or drpremed.com signing off, and best of luck to everybody. Plan, prepare, and study wisely when you're taking your exams.